Well, hi, this is Jacklyn with Nickel and Dime Decor. I know you think I've dropped off the face of the earth because I haven't posted in a video in 3 weeks, maybe even longer. But I wanted you to know that my husband passed away last week, and life goes on. And so we are going to get back to where we were, and I will get back to where I was eventually. But I know I have some loving people that would want to know that. My husband and I had been married 58 years, and that's a long time to be with someone. But I know that some girls have bought their fabric and they've been waiting and they want to get this done. So we are doing part 2 of Lucky Stars. And remember, I'm making mine as a little table quilt. So I hope me doing that isn't going to confuse you, but I'm only going to do 9 blocks. And if you want to do a child's or a baby quilt, you'll do 12 blocks. And accordingly, if you want to do even bigger, it goes clear up to a king. I told you in the previous video where you could order the pattern, and I hope you have. But I left you kind of hanging on the last one. We cut our background strips, but we haven't subcut them. And so that's what we're going to do now. All you need is to subcut your strips into 4 3.5-inch squares, and then 4 3.5 by 4.5, and that's all you need for your background squares. And I think, and that's always for the baby quilt pattern. So when I cut my strips, I really didn't measure that well, so I've got more than enough, way more than enough. I think I only cut 4 or 5 strips the whole length of the fabric, so I have a lot. So I'm going to move the camera down, and we'll show you how we're going to subcut those, okay? And if you can't remember what we did last time, or if you don't want to look back, but if you hadn't watched video number 1, you need to go watch it. But this is all of my colors and all of our pieces, and we'll just review real fast. We have 2.5-inch squares, and we have, I believe, 8 of them. And then we have a 4.5-inch square, and there's only 1. Then we have a 3.5 by 8, and we have 4 of these. And then we have 3.5 by 9.5, and we have 2 of them. And we have that on each and every fabric choice. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 assorted fabric pieces, and those measurements: 2 3.5 by 9.5, 4 3.5 by 8, 2.5-inch squares, 8 of them, and 1 4.5-inch square. And then on our background pieces, we have 4 3.5-inch squares, and then 4 3.5 by 4.5 off of each strip. And I think it says, let's see if it says background piece. It doesn't. I thought maybe it would tell you a total, how many you needed as a total. But I don't see that. Oh, yes. Well, it just says to cut 12 strips. Square, no, it doesn't tell us. Doesn't tell us. Okay. All right, I'm going to move the camera down. Hold on. Now, I know you're kind of far off away from me. I think I'm going to move my sewing machine, and so you can be just a little bit, well, maybe you can see good. I first trimmed, and when you unfold your strip, it says, do not open it. You want 4 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to line them on your straight line across on your cutting mat. Then I've already trimmed all my selvages off. And now I've got 3.5 this way and 3.5 this way. So you're going to have to press pretty hard, you know, for 4 of them. Try not to move your fabric. And there's our 4 3.5-inch squares. Then we want a 4.5-inch length times 3.5 across. Just make sure it's lined up good across there. 4.5. There's 4.5. Now I'm going to continue to do that because I assume that this is for each square that we're making. And if I'm going to make 9 of them, I need 9 sets of these. So I'm going to see how many I can get out of this one strip. I know I have more than enough. Now, see, I've moved my fabric. Be sure and don't do that. Go back and line it up. Anytime you see that you've moved it, go back. Line it up. Say to yourself 3.5 inches 2 or 3 times so you remember what you're doing. 3.5, 3.5. And we are right on that line. You know, when you're cutting, you just need to do it one time and not make a mistake. So be very careful. There's 4 of the 3.5. Now we want to do 4.5. And again, line it up straight, straight, straight. Four and a half. By 3.5. And you know, if you don't like cutting through this many layers, and I don't think it makes for good accuracy myself. Unfold it and do 2 of them and just cut more. I mean, okay, there's another. So I have 2 sets right here. So I'm going to go again, 3 1/2. And you know, you might, after you get these done, after you cut the 3 1/2, you might go double check each one of them, because see, this is, my layers are not right. I can see that they have shifted. And what I'm going to do is I am going to double check each one of them on my square up ruler and make sure they're 3 1/2. Now this, if I unfold it, I might get 4 1/2. Let's see if I do. Look at that. Look at that. That is exactly 4 1/2. So I only have 2 of them, but that's okay. I know that I need 2 more. Now I'll take another strip, and we'll just do 1 more strip, and then we won't do any more because that takes up too much time and we've got other things to do. We need to start sewing. And my selvage goes clear down to here, so I'm going to trim this a good, oh, I don't know. I'm going to trim it a good 1/4 inch up, or a 1/2 inch up, a 1/2 inch, I think. Okay. 3 1/2. Line it up on your straight line. Three and a half. Three and a half. Then 4 1/2. Keeping it straight. And there's another set. So if I had the 2 that I need there, I would have 4 sets. And I just need to proceed cutting all of these background pieces until I have 9 combinations of 3 1/2 and 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. And I want 9 total sets. So we'll just continue doing that, and we get all that done. Then we're finally through with all of our cutting, and we're going to start sewing. So I'll see you back in just a minute. Okay, I wanted to get you ready to sew, and by getting ready, we mean we have to have a good 1/4 inch seam. And they recommend that you cut a piece of fabric 1 1/2 by 2 1/2 inches long, 2 of them. Then sew your seam. Press it to the side, finger press or press on, then measure. And I put my 12-inch square up ruler, and I put it down here, and you can't see it. I put it right there, 2 1/2. Two and a half, 2 1/2, 2 1/2, 2 1/2. Now, if you don't achieve that, then you either need to move your needle over. If you've watched any of my videos at all, you know that I have to move my needle over one position to get a good 1/4 inch seam. I've had to do that for years. I know if I probably moved my fabric over, but I want it on this one certain line on my foot. And to achieve a good 1/4 inch, I have to move my needle position to the right, one position. So you don't start on this quilt until you've conquered your 1/4 inch seam, okay? It's just so important because your blocks will not fit and you're going to be so disappointed, heartbroken after all of your hard work. So from the very get-go, we've got to have a good 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so now I've got all of my background sets cut. Everything's ready to go. The next thing they do is tell you to start chain piecing. That's a term that means it saves thread. You don't cut in between. And you're just taking your like pieces. And what we're going to use is our 3.5 by 8. Don't pick up your 3.5 by 9. Pick up your 3.5 by 8s. And you should have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just to double check yourself, just make sure that they're your 8s, okay? So you take a 3.5 by 8 print rectangles in pairs. Just match them up any old way you want. I'm going to just, what I would do is take all of them out. Take them out of your little stacks and put them just like this, like together. Just lay them all out. Just in a stack, just like this. Let's just get them all out. And then that way, we'll just be, well, first of all, you can get them lined up then in maybe the color order that you want. See, I don't want this blue down here. I've already got a blue. And I don't really want it, I don't want it yet. So I'm going to get next, I think I'm going to get my yellow. So I'm going to take my this stack, this one, then I'm going to take another red, take a red, lay it out, then I think I'll take a blue, the blue, and then a yellow, another blue, and then my last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 9, so where is the other one? Oh, this one. Here goes. Another red. And last but not least, this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, here's all of my 3.5 by 8. And this way, you know, I can just pick up one from each stack for the first time. And then the next time go these two together, these two together, these two, and these two to make them different. But for right now, I'm going to put these two, 2, 2. And that way they'll all be different. And with 9 different fabrics, you can get 18 different, well, no, more than 18, you can get a lot of combinations, okay? So it tells us that we're just going to stitch these in pairs on the short side, okay? Not the long side. So what we're going to do is we're just going to flip it over, pair these two up, get them really nice and straight, and sew our 1/4 inch seam, okay? So we're just sewing on the short side. Now, before you take that off, you get your next ones that you want, which will be, I'll set this there, then take the blue, set it aside, and take my yellow. And I forget which is which on this yellow, I tell you. It's really hard to tell. And I honestly don't know, okay, which is the right and which is the wrong. And then you'll just stick it right here under your needle and not miss a beat. Then you don't have to waste thread or do anything. See, I just stuck it right there close to that one. Make sure it's, you know, straight. And then just sew. And stop, you know, plenty of ways before you get there. Okay, we've already used the yellow. Now take the blue and the next red. Right sides together, of course. This way we don't worry about pressing or anything until we get through. Now we've used this one, so now I'm going to take this one and this red. Put that up next. Be sure you hold your two pieces together. Good. Keep them even. And then I'll take this blue and start over. Now, I really don't want these two to go together, but most likely we'll have to do that because, well, let's see how it goes. I'm going to put the red. I will eventually. You're not going to have them evened out like that. You're this isn't a perfect world, so you're just not going to have that. So you see what I'm doing now. I will proceed. I've got all of these done, and we'll proceed until we get them all done. We're going to have, if you're going to make the baby blanket, you will have 24 of these, okay? And keep yourself straight if you can. When you use one, put it up to the top. And then now I'm ready to use this one with either the blue or the yellow. You're going to have to combine dark and dark. I see that. I don't have enough contrast, but I'm going to put the yellow with it. I'll see how far we can go with doing that kind of contrast, but I bet you I'm going to have to put two darks together. It's inevitable. And then I'll just keep going, and you come back, and after we've paired them all together and got all 24 of them, then we'll see what we do next, okay? All right. Okay, I've got them all sewed together. I don't think any two are alike, but we'll see when we get them cut. If they are, they are. It's no big deal. Just cut them in between and set them aside, and then we'll open them up in a minute and look at them. I had to kind of really think about it and look through them as I went. It wasn't as easy as just turning them over and over. I had to kind of sort in my mind to get them so they weren't all the same, because I wanted them to all be different if possible. So I had to do a little thinking, which doesn't hurt anybody to think once in a while. Now, I'm not going to have 24 because remember, I'm just making 9 blocks. But you're making 12 if you're making the little baby blankets. So you will have 24 of these. So I hope I'm not getting you confused by that. But okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 18. But if you're making the child's quilt, you will have 24 of these. Now, it says be careful not to use the 9.5-inch rectangles, but if you lay all these out together like we did, you won't get that, you won't have that problem. Okay, there's one combination. Let's just see if they're all different. I'm curious to know. Maybe you are too. I think it would be really neat if they were all different. And as I told you before, my chicken is going to be going every which way, up and down, but I just wanted him for the color. So it's okay if he's up one way and down the other. It's just okay. No sweat. And I'm going to break these videos down into a much shorter length than I did like on the Yellow Brick Road. My videos were 45 minutes long, and I know that can get a little much. So we might have 10 videos before we get through, but okay, so far none of them are alike. I'm batting 1,000. So far, so good. So far, so good. Is that not neat? Okay, they're every one of them different. Oh, that's so special. I like that. Okay, so far so good. There was nothing to it, huh? All right, let's get our instructions. We've already chained them. We know how many we've got. Okay, now we're going to start with all of our other pieces. So, you know what? I think we're just going to cut this video right here. I really do. I think it's long enough, and I want you to come back. If you enjoy doing this with me, I would appreciate so much if each and every person that watches the video would subscribe. I would have my 1,000 subscribers. I don't make a dime. I do these videos for pleasure, but now that my husband's gone, I could use the income. So I would appreciate so much if you would subscribe. It will help me to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. It would mean the world to me, and I thank you for that. So you have accomplished a lot. It doesn't seem like much, but it is. We've cut out the rest of our background pieces, and we've matched these together, and we've sewn them all. And now what I would do is press each and every one of them. And I think, it doesn't say, I don't think, but I would press them open. And doesn't say, does it? Doesn't say a thing. It just says clip them apart before pressing, so it doesn't give us instructions. But I think for this instance, or you can press them to the dark side. It's whatever you want to do. Really, in quilting, there isn't a right or wrong, I don't think. So either press it to the dark or press the seam open. And have all of these pressed. And when we come back, we'll do our other block. Okay? Thank you so much. God bless you, and I love you all. Bye.